Good morning. Hope everybody's doing great. Today I was I was reading my scriptures and I was just talking to the Lord about what He wanted me to speak on today. And it came into my head when I finished my reading, my last chapter, I was finishing it up, and it came into my head to tell the testimony that I had years ago about a vision that I had. And so I thought, well, I've already done that, but if you want me to do it again. And so when I finished reading that last chapter, I looked up, and there was the, where I had written in a little side note about that story. And so I said, okay, Lord, there's the confirmation. Because if we're to do something for God, many times He gives us confirmation. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So here it goes. Some of you have heard this story before, and others haven't. So, here we go. Years ago, I had a consignment shop when I lived down in Georgia. And I always wanted to meet a missionary Jew. I don't know why, I just did. And, oh man, there's so much to this story that I just can't, for time's sake, get into. But it was an awesome story about how God works in your life. I mean, the times where He helped me with that consignment shop was just, I could just go on and on the things that He has done for me. But lo and behold, I'll just make that part short. This woman comes in, this guy brings this woman in, and lo and behold, she is a missionary from Israel. So she prayed for me, and she said that while she was praying for me, she saw me speaking to groups of women. And anyway, I just went to talking to her, and she said that I told her that I would love to have visions. I said, I would just absolutely love to have the gift of visions. She said, pray for it. Just pray for it. Well, that night, I laid in bed, and I started just really praying to God, just really praying to Him. And lo and behold, in my mind's eye, while I laid there with my eyes closed, I saw this little old lady, and she had pink rollers, all in the sponge kind, all in her hair, and she had a net, like one of those nets over her hair, and she just was a wrinkled up little precious sweet little lady. And so I said, okay, Lord, I see her. What do I do when I see her? And just as pretty as you please, in the back of my mind, He said, she's been through something very hard. Tell her I love her and don't give up the faith. All right, so that night I went to sleep. Next morning, my friend and I was going to hit yard sales. They had the citywide yard sales, and we was hitting yard sales. And never came to my mind what had happened that night. I mean, zilch, nothing. It never came to my mind. And so we get up and we head up, and we're on the Perry Highway. And when we was fixing to turn, because there was yard sale signs all over, and we was fixing to turn, and when we did, there was this fire truck had it blocked. And so I kind of stopped, turned on my blinker, and he kind of came over to the car. And I said, we can't go through here. And he said, no, he said, there's been a gas leak. There's a gas leak. He said, so we're checking it and make sure it's okay. He said, and I said, oh man, I was wanting to hit those yard sales down there. He said, we're going up and go around the block. You should be fine. I said, okay. So I'm driving. So we go on up and hit the block, right? Well, we was fixing to come back up to where that was, and a utility truck had it blocked. A utility truck. And I looked at my friend and I said, Pam, can you believe this? I said, we can't get over there. And she says, well, look, there's 2 yard sale signs right up there. Let's hit them, and maybe when we come back out, they'll be gone. I said, okay, all right, we'll do that. So we went up and we parked, and the 2 yard sales were side by side. So we got out to the one, and we was looking, and then we end up just walking to the next one. And we're sitting there, and we're looking around, and my friend saw a pair of these shoes that was brand new on a table. And she goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you tell me the size of these shoes?" And the woman said something, and when she did, I looked up because she was walking off of her. They had been her, and I guess somebody was sitting on the stoop up here on the road, on the house, and I didn't pay any attention to them. I was just looking around the stuff. And so she walks down the stoop, and she goes, "Oh, well, let me look and see if I can help you find a size." And I looked up, and lo and behold, there was the woman in my vision. Just sweet little old face. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And she comes walking up to us, and my heart is pounding, 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 because I knew it was her. And I said, and she had on the net, but she did not have the rollers in her hair. And I said, "Lord, is this her? Is this her?" And nothing. And I'm like, "God, if this is her, though, where's the pink rollers? Where's the pink rollers?" Because I knew in my vision she had pink spongy rollers and the net over that. But now she only had the net. And I said, "Where's the rollers?" And I'm just kind of doing this number, just kind of looking around. And lo and behold, what do you think came in my vision right then when I asked that on one of those tables, the yard sale table? A Ziploc bag of pink foam rollers. So I knew it was her. There's the rollers, there's the net, there's the little old lady. So I go over to her, and I put my hands on her shoulders, and I said, "Ma'am, I believe that I have a message to you from God." And she just kind of just kind of, "Okay," like that. That's how she did. And I said, "God says that you have been through something very hard lately." And she looked down, and little tears welled her eyes, and she said, "I just lost my daughter 3 months ago." Can you believe that? Can you believe how God works? And I told her, I said, "Well, God wanted me to tell you that He loves you so much, and don't give up the faith." And she said, "I won't. I won't." And so we hugged her, and we went to walking off, and she goes, "Hey," and we turned around and looked. She goes, "I love y'all." I think she thought we were walking angels or something. I don't know. But we said, "We love you too." So you see, gosh, people think that the walk with Christ is boring, but it's everything but. But you got to get in deep. You got to get, you can get in ankle deep, knee deep. You can read in scripture. He got in ankle deep, then he got in knee deep, then he got in waist deep. How deep do you want to go? Do you want to go exciting deep? Then get in with it. Get in with Him and watch and see what He will do in your life. It's so exciting. Visions, they're real. Okay? I love you guys. Be blessed. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Maranatha. Bye.